brought to you by Haiti Liberté for May 31st, 2026. We stand at the cusp of a change in civilizations and a reordering of the world economic and political order. And we're going to be looking at what that all means in Haiti, which has been in many ways a vanguard nation throughout history. And we're speaking with Kervens Louissaint. People are familiar from previous episodes of this. You may be wondering where Joseph Mullen is. Joseph has been traveling down, or is now traveling down to Florida, where he is from. And so I will be going solo for the next couple of weeks, maybe more often than not with Kervens Louissaint, my esteemed invitee and colleague here, who is a regular columnist in Haiti Liberté. And I thought it was appropriate this week to have him join us because the article that we had in Haiti Liberté for this week, and if I were more versed with this, as Joseph is, I would be bringing it up on the screen, but I'm not even going to attempt that. But in Haiti Liberté, in the English section online, haitiliberté.com, you will find an article entitled Like Father, Like Son. And it addresses the similarities, or what Wikileaks has told us about Alix Boulon, Fils-Aimé, who is the father of Alix Didier, Fils-Aimé, the current de facto prime minister of Haiti. So Wikileaks, as our readers of long time will know, 15 years ago, began this very week. It in fact began on June 1st, a series of articles drawn from 2,000 State Department cables that WikiLeaks provided us. And I just give a little background before turning to Kervens. The WikiLeaks was given 250,000 secret cables, State Department cables, by Chelsea Manning back in 2010, in addition to the very famous collateral damage or collateral murder video, which showed a helicopter gunship basically gunning down Iraqi civilians. And those two events really put WikiLeaks on the map. They were all the rage because getting secret documents from governments that are trying to hide their secrets is the bread and butter of most journalists. Think the Pentagon Papers or many other investigative endeavors that have taken place over time. And so WikiLeaks really was the first to make this almost systematic, and they were fearless in doing so, which is why the U.S. empire went after Julian Assange in such a terrible way, and almost drove him to death. But when they came out with the 250,000 State Department cables, they went to the New York Times, Der Spiegel, Le Monde, El País, The Guardian in England. And those mainstream papers, those papers under the control of the bourgeoisie of those nations, basically did nothing with them. They did a few little articles, but basically threw it into an oubliette. At which point WikiLeaks said, well, we have to go to every country who are affected by these cables and find the best media, the most fearless, the most rigorous, to treat them. And so they went to Philippines and Brazil and Indonesia and South Africa, etc., giving the documents relevant to their countries. And for Haiti, we're very proud to say that they chose Haiti Liberté, let's see which side it is, as the premier journalist organization that they knew could carry out the job. And we did actually make a lot of noise and articles with those documents, 2000, which ended up in the headlines. They even influenced the US election that came a couple of years later with Bernie Sanders. He used articles written by Haiti Liberté as part of his campaign platform, in particular, the fact that they were trying to pay Haitian workers $2 a day instead of $3 a day. So all of this to say that we went back to those 15 years later and got the account of the dealings of the U.S. ambassador at the time, Janet Sanderson. This is 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, with Alix Boulon, Fils-Aimé, who was part of, we used to call them the Three Musketeers. These were Preval's sort of lieutenants. There was a guy called Bob Manuel. People may remember him. I think he went to Guatemala or someplace. He got religion. He got very religious. And I don't know if he's still there. I don't know if he's still alive. I haven't researched that. There was Pierre Espérance, who was the chief of police under Preval, at least the first Preval. I can't remember if it was under the second. But the third one was Alix Boulon, Fils-Aimé, who had spent time in Fort Dimanche under Duvalier. He'd been arrested. He was a young radical communist activist. And he formed an organization called the League of Former Haitian Political Prisoners, or LAPP, L-A-P-P-H, with Bobby Duval, Robert Duval, who is a well-known Haitian bourgeois family as well. And anyway, he got involved, and in 95, he was elected as the representative of Pétionville, the deputy of Pétionville, and was well regarded in that respect. But in the second Preval administration, he became some sort of adjunct of the police of the PNH and Pierre Espérance, if he was the police chief then. And he ran a thing called the CNDDR. That is the Committee for National Disarmament and Demobilization, and buying back all the guns from armed groups. And it should be reiterated that at that time, the so-called gangs, as they were called at that time too, were basically resistance groups in Cité Soleil primarily. People like Dred Wilmé, Amaral, Evans, Belloni. There were quite a few groups that popped up, and they were fighting against the coup d'etat, which had been carried out against Aristide by the U.S. and the bourgeoisie.
But if I may, were they defending the same principles as of the ones of today?
No, not quite. No, they were an early version of today's. And feel free to interrupt for clarification on anything.
Okay.
Yes, they were. But, and I always found it interesting. I went with Annette Auguste Sohan, who had spent years during that second coup in jail, was arrested by the coup makers, who had been a very prominent Lavalas figure, artist, was involved, even though she ended up on the outs with Aristide and went over to the PHTK. But she was a very outspoken, sincere woman, and spent most of 2 years, or maybe all 3 years of that 2004 coup in the Pétionville prison in, terrible conditions, very hot, rodents. We visited.
You say for 3 years?
Yeah, I think it was for 3 years. I don't recall off the bat. Let's see. No, it would have been 2 years, because 2004 to 2006. So yeah, she spent most of those 2 years in jail up there for nothing. For on basically a political. She was just a political prisoner. And when she was released, she went down to the Lavalas base organizations of Cité Soleil, and among them, one of the first neighborhoods we went to was that of Evans, a guy called Evans, who was kind of an early version, Kervens, of, I would say, Chrysler, maybe. He was into rap, and he made beautiful rap music with sort of militant lyrics. And I mean, he was no angel, but he had a consciousness which was very embryonic, and it was captured by a little mural, a pillar, in fact, that he had in the middle of his la coup there, in I guess it was the Boston neighborhood of Cité Soleil, and on it were three figures: Charlemagne Perrault, Jean-Bertrand Aristide, and Che Guevara, and that captured kind of what they were groping for, what they were looking for. In any case, these groups became, they were targeted, of course, by the coup regime of Gerard Latortue, who came in with the MINUSTA and bombed, killed Dreadwill May, dropped a bomb on his house and blew him up, and lots of people. And there were hundreds of poor, innocent people were shot to death. And we covered this in WikiLeaks because they knew perfectly well. And we have WikiLeaks. People can find it on the Haiti Liberté site. Just go right there. It's easy. And those cables showed conversations between, like, Boulos and the ambassador. And the ambassador is saying, Boulos is saying, listen, you got to go in and kill or arrest those people. And the ambassador is saying, yeah, but a lot of people are going to die. That's very, poorly built houses. They're tin shacks, basically, and a lot of people will get hurt. And he said, well, that's collateral damage, and they kind of agree on it. So this is the context in which Preval comes in. But he came in, tough too with the cops, but they had the CNDDR. And this was really a window. The WikiLeaks were a window in how the U.S. Embassy was using the Haitian government to basically run the show, and using Boulon, Fils-Aimé, to somehow win over and neutralize these groups, these armed groups. So today, flash forward 20 years to the Vivre Ensemble. Jimmy Cherizier launches G9 in May of 2020. Almost immediately, the bourgeoisie backs and builds and sets up, along with the opposition, so-called, of SDP, etc., the GPEP, and it's as a kind of a counterforce to the G9. And they fight for many years until finally Jimmy Cherizier, through his conviction that these people are not my enemy and they can be reformed, they can be rehabilitated, they can be won over, managed to form the Vivre Ensemble, which was founded in September of 2023 and really came into effect in February of 2024 when they blocked the airport and stopped Ariel Henry from coming back. So in any case, this is what we're facing now, where the CNDDR is being rehashed. They are going full bore in trying to figure out how to buy off, win over, divide, conquer, crush, stop this Vivre Ensemble movement, which has basically had the initiative for most of the past 2 years. And now
but
Alix Didier is trying to come and turn it around. And I'll finish here. and so we present this role through the WikiLeaks documents, but we knit it together with an essay by Kervens, which is really about the structural schizophrenia of this liberal bourgeoisie, which on the one hand will say, the blanc is the problem, at the same time, the blanc being the foreigner or the white man. But blanc is more generally, we could say the foreigner in general, because you have, blanc Gévet, you got blanc Pépé, you got all kinds of blanc, but it's just basically foreigners who have the money. And so they're the problem, but at the same time, when you get into power, you end up wheeling and dealing and getting basically in bed with them. And it's a very interesting piece, and I cite, I think, some of the key passages from it in this piece this week. So I ask people to go look at it. But yeah, Kervens, your reflections on this structural schizophrenia, which you laid out in general terms, and we provided some concrete examples of it with the case of Boulon, Fils-Aimé. Chouette pour Kervens. Yeah.
Yes. Like I would say, it's basically it's just different faces, but the same structure, the same mechanism, the same architecture. So one of the reasons that somehow it just come from the father, and then now we, with the son, it's because they understand what is the structure. They understand the important key players.
Mm-hmm.
And because they know that, the state as an institution doesn't run anything in Haiti.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all the oligarchy. So
and the embassy.
Yeah, mostly because the oligarchy works for the embassy. Yeah, so it's just like, their representative. They are the one who administer things in Haiti for the foreign powers.
Yeah.
And I think Didier, as someone who's part of the project of democracy, who now have
Haiti Democracy Project. We should
Hey,
explain what that was, which was a project. I think it was funded by Boulon and Mez, was it? Back
yes,
in the 1991 to 94 coup, which was basically there to provide pushback, propaganda, lobbying, whatever political support they could against the return of Aristide and the government that had been couped out in 1991. Yeah. So he was part of Haiti Democracy Project, which you found out, Kervens. I'd not realized that.
yes, which is important. That now one of the key players of that project is now the Haitian ambassador in Washington, which is De La Tour.
Mm-hmm.
He's part of the Haiti project, democracy project. So basically, they are the one in power right now with Group Makaya.
Right.
They are the
Which you
ones
could explain a little bit about Group Makaya, which is a circle of the Haitian oligarch of the Haitian bourgeoisie, which is kind of based, I would say, in the Lavalas and Unité Espoir sector. Yes.
Exactly.
As opposed to the PHTK, the ultra hardline sector. Yeah. They're more the liberal, the bourgeoisie éclairée, the enlightened bourgeoisie. Yeah.
And they are the ones who control almost everything right now.
Yeah.
And they've been trying to, have more control because they always had control. So don't get it wrong. Like they didn't have control. They always had control. Now they have more control, and with that control, they are privatizing the state. Okay, with some structural adjustment, mostly neoliberal policies. As you can see, with Eric Prince, who has control of the so-called security sector
And the customs,
and the customs,
just
exactly.
like the U.S. Marines in 1915, take over the principal revenue stream of Haiti. Yeah.
Exactly. And
The same way, if I could just interject, that they now have taken all the oil revenues that Venezuela is receiving, and they go into a bank account in Florida, controlled by Trump and his cronies. It doesn't go to Venezuela. This is the same thing they're doing in Haiti in a different way and using Eric Prince. Yeah.
exactly. And the past few days we have seen the Assistant Secretary of State coming in Haiti and meeting with Didier Fils-Aimé
Christopher
and
Landau.
Christopher Lando, and Eric Prince was tweeting too about it, saying that things are different from what they were like 2 years ago, which is a lot. Lies, 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 because
Mm-hmm.
it's gotten worse. Um, they can only say that if the objective was never to secure the population.
Yeah.
So if the objective was never to secure the population, then they have achieved their goal.
Mm-hmm.
That's for sure. But if they are saying that there's more security, things have been better. I don't think so, because we all see even our football soccer player, they couldn't come in Haiti,
Mm-hmm.
while it is like our second World Cup since 1974. Um, all this is basically the nature of the state they put in place,
Mm-hmm.
which run by external powers. They have made Haiti colony, a protectorate, and these people are the one who administer that colony for
Mm-hmm.
those foreign powers, for those external powers, because we have a criminal economy, as we can say, because Haiti is a narco state, and most of the oligarchs, they use une économie de rente, like comprador, which means
Mm-hmm.
that they do commerce.
Mm-hmm.
They do not produce much in Haiti. I could say
Nothing.
nothing, nothing.
Yeah.
So it's just import, import, import. And some people might ask, where do we find those purchasing power to buy what they are important? And I would say, guess what? That's why they do the brain drain. You
Mm-hmm.
know, most of us, we leave the country, we send remittance as the diaspora, and that money is used to buy what those people are important to our families. So it's
Mm-hmm.
basically working perfectly for them. You see
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like it's the perfect model
Mm-hmm.
for neocolonialism.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
almost
yeah.
like you say a colonialism. It's almost gone from neocolonial because the neocolonialism would be defined for listeners who are not familiar with the terms as where you use a local puppet from the nation that you're colonizing to nominally run it, even though they're under your control politically and economically. So this was mostly what, since 1915, most of the U.S. puppets in Haiti, or the Haitian presidents, have been uh, puppet regimes. Until Jean-Bertrand Aristide came along, he declared Haiti's second independence in his February 7th, 1991 inauguration speech. But very quickly, they gave him a coup d'etat, 1991, a second coup d'etat in 2004. And in a way, I could say schooled him or recuperated him to the point where now he is acting as the eminence grise of Didier Fils-Aimé, giving him advice, meeting with him. His members of his party, the Labalas family, are part of the government of this totally captured government, which has not one ounce of independence or anti-imperialist dignity to push back against their restavek status, servant status, as they say, as a restavek is some, the lowest of the low servants. So all of this to say that, we have gotten what the Trump regime wants, which is just completely subservient regimes, whether it's Haiti, which they have done so far without a fight from anybody in that political class. The fight is being brought by the poor neighborhoods, the the vivre ensemble neighborhoods, which this Didier Fils-Aimé with Eric Prince, this guy up in the corner here, this guy is carrying out these terrible massacres, which we've been documenting in Haiti Liberté, in the neighborhoods, gunning down market women, guys just walking along the street, apartment buildings, homes. It's what they call in Gaza mowing the grass, which is where they would go and kill Palestinians so they couldn't support Hamas or a resistance party. And this is what they're doing now in the poor neighborhoods, because they want to cut the grass so that the vivre ensemble has no neighborhood or no population to base itself in. A similar thing was done in Vietnam in the 1960s. They had what was called strategic hamlets. They would burn down a village, move you into basically a little compound surrounded by barbed wire, and that would keep the Vietnamese resistance from getting the support of the people. So anyway, this is what's going on in Haiti. And I think the article this week in Kervens' reflections that he makes in his piece about this schizophrenia that you see in a part of the liberal bourgeoisie, which talks left but walks right, which, pretends to be anti-imperialist, but in the end of the day, they are the handmaidens of Washington and Trump today. Kervens, sorry to interrupt. Yeah.
Yes, in our language in Haiti, we call them abolocho or maonage. Okay.
Maonage, yeah.
Yeah, basically, they will have any popular discourse to get into power. While they are in power, they change their actions.
Yeah.
So,
A little bit
which means,
like the Democratic Party here. Yeah, they'll
yeah,
talk
so
a
they
good
have
game.
no political cleavage, no political
Yeah,
ideology. So
right.
it's mostly, I would say, they are realist or pragmatic. Let's
Yeah,
just put it that way.
yeah,
You know, um, more likely survivalist. Let's.
yeah. There's another one. Yeah. Well, survival. Yeah, I mean, you can. They used to say we would rather um, die standing up than live on our knees, but they definitely choose living on their knees. Yeah.
Exactly. So,
Aristide used to say that back in the early days. Yeah.
but we have to understand it's not just a matter of them as people. We're not removing their moral obligation, but it's the nature of the system, of the
Yeah.
structure in
Sure.
itself.
Yeah.
So once they are involved within that institution, then the way things go, it's just like it's either you get in or you get out. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. But in the biggest threat is revolutionary change from below, which is what we're seeing more and more. What we saw in 2004, 5, and 6 with the uprising of the ghettos, primarily Cité Soleil and Bel Air. And we spent a lot of time, at that time I was with Haiti Progrès newspaper. We spent a lot of time traveling to Haiti, interviewing the people of terrible massacres, and we even carried out from 2005, 6, and 6 an international tribunal in The first one was in Washington. We had one in Miami. We had one in Montreal, and we had one in Boston. And essentially, we presented all the data of the terrible massacres, of the killings, of the just repression without any name that you can find by the La Tortue regime, the de facto regime, and the MINUSTA against the masses, against the poor neighborhoods. So the resistance at that time, they were called gangs, they were called bandits, same thing they called Charlemagne Perrault, same thing they're calling the Vivant Somme today, because they were resisting the foreign occupation and the coup d'etat. They were saying, no, we're against that. It's not saying that they didn't do any bad things either, but primarily this was the motivating force behind them. And, it's unfortunate that so many people who should be more clear and have a better understanding don't understand this dynamic of the almost spontaneous, organic reaction of the working class, of the poor, to this terrible international crime which is being carried out against Haiti. And as my mentor Ben Dupuis said in Bitter Cane, he said it was the treachery, the betrayal of the ruling classes of Haiti that allowed Charlemagne Perrault and the Caco fighters in 1918 and to be defeated by the U.S. Marines. Because if they'd gotten a little support from those ruling groups, instead those ruling groups are being weaponized by the empire to disarm, dismantle, destroy, and buy off these groups. So I presume that's what's going on today. I don't know if you have any insights into that now, Kervens, since you've been following this as well. Do you see the sort of smashing of the Vivant Somme? What's your assessment of it at this moment?
Um, I'm just like an observer for
Yeah.
now because there's not much of understanding of why now and
Yeah.
what is the reason. Um,
Well, they've
it's
got
just
Eric
like
Prince.
I just think that the state is trying to prove that um, there's a need for them to exist. Remember that the role of the state is to have the monopoly of violence.
Yep.
So they since they don't have it, so they're trying to show some strength and act like they are doing something. So I guess the perfect way to prove that is to attack those people, the weakest link,
Terrorize them too. Yeah.
terrorize them too, just to prove that they exist, they
Mm.
are doing their job.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we all know that's not the goal, that's not the objective,
Hmm.
to protect and serve the people. They're not here for that.
Yeah.
First of all, we didn't put them in power, so why would they do something for us?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as Lenin explains, the state is basically the arm of the ruling class, and the essence of the state is its armed force, whether it's the police or the army. We definitely see that in Haiti. But let's turn at this point to somebody who's very much sur le sellette, as they say in Creole, in the headlines and on the hot seat, um, Pierre Espérance, who is, to give listeners who may not be familiar, he is the head of Haiti's largest, or at least most influential, human rights, quote unquote, organization called the RNDDH, the National Network for the Defense of Human Rights. And he has been the principal power broker, I could say, of Haiti for really since 2004 coup. He was very much came into prominence at that time. He was originally with a thing called the National Coalition for Haitian Rights, NCHR, but he kind of broke away and came into his own with the RNDDH. And that was at the time of the 2004 coup. He was very much a pro-coup human rights group, talking about what a monster Aristide was and the fights, for example, of various armed groups in places like Cité Soleil. But the principal one that he became known for was a fight up in the town of Saint Mark between two armed groups called Ramicos and Balewuze. And Ramicos was aligned with the coup forces, and Balewuze was aligned with Aristide and the Lavalas movement, and the two fought. And in the course of that, people died. This is what happens: people die, poor people. It's never the bourgeoisie out fighting; they're always using people. And this is true in any army. In the war in Iraq, you're not going to see any bourgeois out dying there. It's going to be the working class of the U.S. and immigrants they can hire. The point being that Pierre Espérance spun this as a massacre. It was a massacre that happened in Saint Mark in an area called La Syrie. And he, did everything to try to demonize then Prime Minister Yvon Neptune, who was perhaps
he even went to jail for that.
He went to jail. He spent 2 years in jail with Prévert in a jail cell. We went to visit them there. No charges.
Oh, you visit them?
Oh, yes, I visited them in 2005. We went with a delegation with Ramsey Clark, the former U.S. Attorney General, and we met with them, and we met with a lot of the Lavalas people who had been thrown in jail. Many of them were, fighting this coup. But Pierre Espérance was the one who basically was waging the war, ideological war, information war against the regime and getting these guys thrown in jail. And you can find nobody who was more gentle and less confrontational than Yvon Neptune. I mean, this guy was, we knew him at Haiti Progrès. He used to write for Haiti Progrès. He lived here in New York. He originally lived in Long Island. But Pierre Espérance then went on to play a role in the second coup d'etat as well, and primarily in attacking this I'll call it a phenomenon of the rising up of Haiti's slums and the arming of Haiti's slums again. So just like in 1915, just like in 2004, Haiti's slums began to rise up. And Jimmy Cherizier, of course, has given it much more sophistication and clarity and purpose, because he's saying, we need schools, roads, hospitals, electricity, sanitation, etc. And, is making these demands which weren't as formulated, as clear as they were. And he's so provided a leadership. But Pierre Espérance and his handlers in Washington, in the NED, that's the National Endowment for Democracy, which is a cutout of the CIA. The CIA used to do all these operations covertly, but in 1983, under Ronald Reagan, they came out with this National Endowment for Democracy, which did a lot of the political work of, funding parties, funding human rights groups, etc., openly, legally. And so one of the principal agents of NED, of the CIA, I could say, by extension, the U.S. deep state, is Pierre Espérance. But now, after this trial, which you were there for, Kervens, the role of the opposition, and above all of Pierre Espérance, who was up to his eyeballs in this thing, and there's even a picture of him from behind, which, talking with the coup people. But what is most interesting is Sherlson Sanon, who has been a a stringer for Haiti Liberté in the past, and who we've written quite a bit, and people can find
Pierre
that
Espérance
again.
put him in jail?
Pierre Espérance put him in jail. How did he put him in jail? I'll give the thumbnail, and people can read all about it. But essentially, the guy was working as a security chief for Moïse Jean Charles, for Jacmel, which is where Sherlson is from. He got a call while he was sitting in the car talking to Moïse from Pierre Espérance. And he said, "Who's Pierre Espérance? Should I talk to him? He wants to meet with me." And Moïse stupidly said, "Yeah, go talk to the guy." And he did. And Pierre Espérance said to him, "You know, Sherlson, the other day when you had a little problem in Jacmel with some official and they'd thrown him in jail, but he got out, through a judge. He said, that was me who got you out. I went down there and made sure you got out. But, you're in danger, and I want to make sure, you can get out of here. So I've got an arrangement to get you on a plane to Miami and, out of this problem. For somebody like Sherlson, a poor guy, this was a dream come true. So Pierre Espérance gives him a bunch of documents to sign and says, here, sign these and we'll get you on a plane tomorrow or the next day. They put him in a safe house. They took his phone. They gave him another phone, et cetera, et cetera. So they pretended they were protecting him. They were going to help him. And finally, they come up with a car. They bring it. At this point, Marie-Yolande Gilles is working with them, other people. Anyway, I won't go into too much detail at that time, yeah. And this is 2013. And then they're bringing, and basically, they bring him to the judge, and Pierre Espérance is saying to him, don't worry, this is just, technicalities. We're going out. And the judge starts to read through these documents that Sherlson has signed without reading. That was his big mistake. And he's saying, wow, so you were doing all these terrible crimes in Jacmel for Joseph Lambert and Ido Zeni, two politicians in that town who Pierre Espérance had a beef with, who was, fighting. And you were killing people, and you were da-da-da-da. And Sherlson said, what are you talking about? I didn't do any of that. I don't know what you were talking about. I've had no dealings with gangs, anything like. And the judge said, well, that's what it says here. And so now Sherlson realized he was being used as a tool to attack these two guys. And, the whole thing became a mess. And he ended up spending 10 years of his life in prison from 2013 to 2023, when finally there was a law, thank God, that said after 10 years, if you haven't got charges against you, you can get out. And he got out, but he immediately started to put the whole story out. So he's been talking about this for quite a few years. We've been covering it in Haiti Liberté. You can read all about it if you want the chapter and verse. But the most interesting thing he said, and this is becoming very clear from Pierre Espérance's statements, that he has been supporting, providing food for the Colombians who are in jail in Haiti. And how does Sherlson Sanon know this? Because he was arrested again by Normil Rameau and thrown in jail for nothing. Sherlson was once again thrown in jail by the force because he's a threat. He speaks very well. He's very clear. And anyway, he put out that, not only was Pierre Espérance, part of this whole plot for the killing of Jovenel, but, he continues to play a role in supporting these Colombians while, people like him are sitting in the jail. I mean, the stories when he would call me from the jail and say, we have to take turns sleeping. You have, 50 guys in a 12 by 5 foot cell, they have to take turns lying down on the ground. They have a bucket in the corner for their
inhuman.
It's a nightmare. Inhuman. just inhuman, unbelievable. And so anyway, Pierre Espérance is sur le select Kunya, and everybody's starting to see very clearly not only the role of the opposition, being the SDP of André Michel and Marjorie Michel and Nenel Kassi, as well as the roles of Unité and l'Espoir sector and the Lavalas sector, Jean-Joël Joseph, and Nenel Kassi, of course, being part of Lavalas. So anyway, all of this to show, again, this incredible mafia and intimidation campaign that is used, where Pierre Espérance is the big 600-pound gorilla in the room, who is intimidating, scaring everybody because they don't want to have a report written about them and end up, losing their retirement where they get a, condo in Coconut Grove. So anyway, Kervens, you were at the trial. I don't know if you saw any of this discussion. I know Pierre Espérance wasn't discussed, but of the sort of connivance between members of the opposition who were, part of this terrible magnicide that was, committed against Jovenel Moïse. So maybe your reflections on this chapter.
Yes, I was at the trial, but what I can say is, all of, the one reason that Pierre Espérance is being mentioned for now, it's mostly because the personal journal of the president, of the
Correct.
chief
Yeah.
of state, let me just put it that way, the chief of state, is Pierre Espérance has the whole copy of everything that is written in there. And one may ask, how, when, there are questions to who give it to him, why does he have it, how, basically we don't know yet because the DCPJ, which is the Haitian National Police investigation unit, they basically said that they didn't have the personal journal in their in the evidence they had gathered. So Pierre Espérance is basically saying that he got it on social media, and that's what he said. He said,
yeah, of course, yeah.
and I'm like, why don't I have it on social media
Yeah,
too?
right, yeah.
So if you got it from social media, why don't we have it from social media? And who leaked it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Where's the link? Yeah. No, this is but this is the problem with liars, is that you get caught in your own contradictions. And increasingly, social media, and you wrote a piece this week, we'll be publishing really on its influence on sort of dumbing down our world. And this is not true just for Haiti, but I could say worldwide. But the one thing that we can say about social media is that does provide for leaks and things to come out. But yeah, this certainly has not been one of them. This so-called carnet, this notebook of Jovenel, which is supposed to contain whatever secrets. But
sensitive data.
And I lost my train of thought. I was going to make a point about it, and it's escaped me.
About social media and the fact that he said he got it from social media.
Yeah,
and he's
right.
lying about it.
Right. But yeah, well, that's the point. Is when you lie, eventually. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. Social media has provided a function or a role, a good role in this case, of a lot of citizen journalists. We could call them people who are not particularly even connected with a publication. I mean, right now there are so many channels and individuals who set up shop and they're doing their own investigation. That's fine. But what they've done is they've caught it's like you have an army of ants going over the record, and they look what Pierre Espérance said in 2021, when they tried to do the original coup on February 7th and the second coup, and then they compare it to what he's saying now, and they say, wow, these are opposites. These are totally different things. So he's really being caught in a lie, as it were. It's a little bit like the husband who tells his wife, yeah, I was playing poker with the guys. Well, what is this over here? So, it's a situation where he's really been caught red-handed in his lies, and his role in the whole thing is showing up. And I don't know, maybe when you were at the trial talking to, I don't know, Foucault or somebody who was following it
in the
closely, this
US,
might have come
he's
up.
being mentioned in terms of us in Haiti, we know that this guy has been problem for years, and he controlled the judges, he controlled the whole
But he has a lot of defenders on the media. I mean, he has Rudy Sanon, he
yeah,
has Radio Caraïbe, he has all kinds of defenders.
exactly, because remember, um human rights organization collect document data. So the guy has a lot of data. So he knows
Yeah,
who's doing
yeah.
what and how.
But a
So
lot
he
of that
got
data
them.
is bogus too, huh?
Yeah, so he can create data, because he has the legitimacy to do it with
Yeah,
this human rights organization. So he got them, he's gripping.
yeah,
So he knows that they won't touch him because it will be like the domino effect.
yeah,
It's like everybody's falling at the same time. So it's like he knows they're after him,
yeah,
and just as much as he's after them too. You know,
yeah.
I think it's becoming personal, but for me, I don't see it as personal. I see it more as structural,
Yeah, it's
because
political. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but
No, it's a political struggle. And for sure, though, this trial, with all its limitations, because of course it didn't give even a hint or anything to really show who was really behind it, who were the intellectual authors, who were the paymasters who gave the money, etc. It gave kind of a half a half answer, and hoping that will assuage the Haitian people, but I don't think it will be the case. Um, but yeah, this Pierre Espérance, and it should be said for people who have maybe are watching this for the first time, we produced a film in 2022 called Another Vision. It's divided in three parts. There's a second part called Haiti Intervention versus Revolution, which came out in 2004. These two films, Another Vision and Intervention versus Revolution, really delve into Pierre Espérance and his lies and his role. And so go look at those two films. You can find them on YouTube free.
I have watched him.
Yeah, you've watched them.
Yes, the
Yeah,
ones where he's basically explaining. I mean, he was the one. There was many reports about the massacre lasting. I think there were seven,
yeah.
and I think four of them come from what Pierre Espinosa said.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah. No, we dissected in great detail in the first. We had to divide
Yeah.
the film into three parts to make it a series, so the Blanc would watch it. But it's in the first episode. But watch all three episodes. The third episode, I think you'll agree, Kervens, is the most important because you really see the role of Cherisier and walking around the shanty towns and so forth. So, but also in the Intervention versus Revolution, we present the case of Sherlson Sanon and of him talking about Pierre Espérance as well. So I think those two films will help anybody who's uninitiated, who's not familiar, understand a little of that background. As they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Even though if you go to Haiti Liberté, you'll find quite a few articles on it, and you can read those, old style reading. That's
I'll take a look.
take a look. Yeah. So Kervens, one last thing I think you that I wanted to touch on was an article which is produced in English 2 weeks ago and in French this past week in Haiti Liberté, called "The CEP Wants to Change Haiti's Election Rules to Limit Candidates." And this is a piece by Travis Ross, our correspondent, who does a lot of amazing investigative journalism, explaining that they're trying to change the electoral law now so that candidates, one, they have to have a university degree, and two, the party presenting the candidate has to have, originally when we wrote it, it was 30,000 members. But now they're trying to up it to even 100,000 members so as to limit the number of parties which can present candidates. This is, of course, going to skew everything in favor of those candidates who have the money and the backing of the empire, in particular these groups of the NED, groups like that of former Prime Minister Claude Joseph and the ED party, for example. So we want to call people's attention to those two articles. The CEP wants to change Haiti's election rules to limit candidates. And, people should see how this is a case we can follow in real time about how they rig elections, how they, in a very subtle and clever way, exclude a lot of candidates because some candidate from, I don't know, Miraguan, is not maybe going to be able to find 30,000 people to sign up for their party because they're in a smaller city. So this is some of the dynamic going on right now in Haiti as they continue this mercenary offensive, killing people in the slums with drones and armored cars, and then at the same time trying to rig the electoral system for elections whenever they happen. Already, they were supposed to happen in August, but Alix, Didier, Fils-Aimé has said that's not going to happen, and we kind of all knew that already, so they're going to be sent back to another date. Anyway, Kervens, your thoughts on this dynamic before we...
What I would say is mostly this. They can change whatever they want with about that election, and I would say this: we all know there has never been election in Haiti, mostly pre-selection.
Yeah.
So it's just like they
not
are.
Aristide's in 1990. That was the one that they shocked, and that's why they started to make coup d'états.
Is it?
Yeah. No, it was. No, I was there. You weren't born yet, but it was. It was a different. It was the U.S. embassy was gobsmacked. They were stunned that Aristide beat Marc Bazin, who was the empire's candidate. And he had a war chest, which was 72 times as large as that of Aristide. Aristide got $500,000 from Antoine Ismarie, who they killed later in that coup in 1993 with a bullet to the head, dragged him out of a church and just shot him in the street. But he'd given Aristide 500 grand. But the NED and the U.S. Empire and the Haitian oligarchy had given Marc Bazin $36 million. So you had $36 million war chest against the 500 grand. That was supposed to make the election fixed, but it didn't. And that election was seminal in Latin America because that election, which stunned the world, remember, this is when the Soviet Union is being basically vanquished by U.S. imperialism, when the Sandinistas in Nicaragua are being kicked out. So it was just suddenly here was Haiti scoring this goal. It's like the Haitian team. Now, Haiti scored this goal with Aristide's election, which just shocked the world. I mean, of course, immediately the empire got to work planning a coup d'etat, and they kicked him out 8 months later after his election. But that election, Kervens, I covered it very closely. I was there watching it with an eagle eye, and it was a phenomenal thing. It really was it was a flood of people. The people poured out. It was amazing election. Yeah.
Okay.
Read. You can read a very important book, "Damning the Flood" by Peter Hallward, contributor, friend of Haiti Liberté, a brilliant philosophy professor out of London, King's College. But he wrote "Damning the Flood," DAMMING, the flood. We have copies here at Haiti Liberté. Anybody wants to come by, we'd be glad to give you one. We have extra copies sitting around, or you can get it online. But this really tells the story of that coup and how it happened. But really, he's looking at the 2004 coup, but he deals also with the 1991 coup. Anyway,
with Cedras.
yeah, Cedras, yeah, the whole, yeah, Cedras, and that's, that's the thing. You when you're carrying out a revolution, you can't take half steps. Aristide was trying to what he'd call the jouet d'intelligence. He was trying to be like Toussaint Louverture, who would pit off people against each other and powers against each other, put the English against the French and the French against the Spanish, Spanish against the English. And we see how Toussaint ended up, in a jail in Fort de Joux where he died. Aristide was lucky; he didn't die, but he took coup d'états, and a little bit. The first coup d'état, you could say shame on you to the U.S., but the second coup d'état, that's shame on me. So anyway, Kervens, just to close out, since we're getting past the 1 hour mark. You have a piece which we'll be publishing, at least in English, I think, but probably in French too this week, looking at what you see is the intellectual degradation of the Haitian
Public
people and of
discourse.
the Haitian intelligentsia. Talk a little bit about that, if you will. Just give a little preview, a little trailer of this piece.
Yes. What is mostly said there is that there's no substance within the debate, within the Haitian public discourse. It's mostly um, um, people just going after each other. It's mostly personal things that are superficial. And I think one of the reason that this is a major problem is because this shows that we no longer have um, the state of mind to really focus on what's matter, you know. And I
Yeah.
think it's because we feel like the people in place, the things that matters, they do not, give us, the structure or the the resources that we need to make them happen. So they go for the instant gratification, for things that keep them alive to a certain point, because they know that when it comes to deep thinking, or you're just gonna be by yourself, because the system do not embrace substance. It just go with things that mostly keep people entertained. um so that's what the piece is mostly about.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll read just a little selection from it, a little preview. Gradually, speed replaces depth. Emotion replaces thought. Scandal replaces analysis. Visibility replaces competence. Performative outrage replaces intellectual courage. Gossip replaces political consciousness. And emotional noise suffocates any possibility of long reflection. There's a little taste, I think a very beautifully presented taste of the article and the piece. And, that's really what we're trying to do with this podcast and with Haiti Liberté, presenting the work of people like Kervens Louissaint and other Haitian intellectuals, Haitian thinkers, and Haitian activists and revolutionaries trying to change the reality in Haiti. So check it out in this coming week's paper. We come out every Wednesday. It goes online as well as in the newsstands here in New York and in Miami. And most of the people can find it in the flipping book online or in the URL form on the site. Kervens, final thoughts on this moment in Haitian history. May 31st, Mother's Day, by the way. Happy Mother's Day to all Haitian mothers.
Oh, thank you.
And your reflections on the status of Haiti's situation, May 31st, 2026.
My reflection is basically it's not like I'm optimistic within this in terms of the state they're gonna do something to help us out, but I think day by day the nation in itself, it's we are opening our eyes and seeing things, and there's a lot of things that is being done behind the scene, and I'm hoping that we understand that we are not outnumbered, but we are just unorganized. So the goal is to structure that energy and understand that the fight is mostly the state versus the nation. And once we
Yeah.
understand that, we can really build a nation state.
Yeah. And I would just add a little addendum on there is that the empire, the state here in the U.S. is doing its best to make people see the leading edge of that national reclamation, which we can call a spontaneous uprising, armed uprising in Haiti's ghettos, personified by Ives and Louissaint. It's not a perfect organization, of course, none are, but it is, from our analysis here at Haiti Liberté, genuine, sincere in trying to bring change to Haiti. So let's not let them neutralize us ideologically in terms of controlling a narrative, which then we swallow without any critical thought, without any critical thought. So I would just close with that. Kervens, thank you very much for joining us for this, and we'll be doing this again maybe several times this month because I don't have Joseph to kick the can around with. Okay.
A pleasure.
Okay. See you. Bye, Kervens.
All right.
Thanks.